Let's talk. Start at the beginning. You said that your boyfriend wants you to have all the experiences he's missed out on. Could you tell me what that means? What experiences is he talking about?
Yeah, it's really just about the more kinky things and just the locations or more random places.
It sounds like you're saying he wants the sex to be new and exciting all the time.
And it just keeps coming back. So once we kind of brush it under the rug for a while, then...
And you said he's pushing certain things. Can I ask you what he's pushing?
Okay. Can I say anything?
You can say anything at all. There's nothing we haven't heard. So go on.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, he wants to try anal sex. So, yeah. And that I have experienced before and I didn't find it enjoyable. So I'm not really open to go through it again.
Okay. So when you say to him, I tried that, it just wasn't for me, it didn't give me any pleasure and I didn't actually like it, how does he respond to you saying, well, I've been there, done that, and it was not my bag?
Well, that of course he's going to be very gentle and we're going to go slow. And if I don't really like it at all, then yeah, let's just give it a go, basically.
But you already know you don't like it. So here's the thing in a relationship, and it's a very good thing to say, which is needs. I have a need and you have a need. I have a need to not have anal sex because I don't like it. A lot of people don't. And he has a need to try it out. So his need is more important. And that's always going to be an interesting dilemma. Your need to try something, my need to say, no, I don't like that. So I think in this relationship, you're going to have to think of this a lot. I'll give you an example. Years ago, I was standing at a station with someone I was dating and a very famous person called me, famous footballer who wanted a session. He said, who is that? I said, I can't tell you. He said, oh, go on, tell me. I said, I can't tell you. He said, look, you have a need to know. I have a need not to tell you. My need is to keep my client confident. Your need is to hear. So which need is more important? And I think in that case, it was my need not to break a client's confidentiality. So in a relationship, so it's good to go, okay, this is your need. This is my need. Which is, so let's come on to your libido. You said he has a higher libido than you.
Definitely.
Let's talk about that need. So he needs to have sex more. You need to have sex not as often. How's that working?
I just, once we're in it, I'm completely fine. But get to that point, it's quite a push from my side. So I'm trying to kind of push myself, to initiate or anything. But I think the issue is also from my past, from my previous partners, that they were always the one who were engaging. So I never really had to learn that skill, if you call it a skill, let's say. So for me, I think it's something I need to learn how to initiate more and just feel comfortable with that. And I'm very far from it, to be honest, but I'm trying.
Here's a question. He's got a higher libido than you. So why do you need to initiate? It sounds like the opposite. He's initiating a lot and you're not always in the mood, but you also want to initiate it.
Because he would like that as well.
He would like it. Okay. So, one of the things that makes a relationship work is working out what your partner wants and meeting their needs, but they also have to meet your needs. So you need to get a pen really. Okay, what are this guy's needs? He needs to have a lot of sex. He needs me to initiate sex. He needs it to always be exciting, and he needs me to take some responsibility here. That's his needs. Can I meet his needs? Probably. But then you've got to go to another piece of paper and write down your needs. So, Kitty, what are your needs? We know your partner's needs. He wants to have lots of sex in exciting places, including anal sex. He wants you to initiate it. That's okay. No, none of this is wrong. This is all totally normal. But we haven't heard much about your needs. So I've got his needs. I've written them down. Now I want to hear about, so you're going to try and meet his needs. But how much is he trying to meet your needs?
I guess, when I just say no because I don't feel like it as many times as he, it takes a while until he accepts it and stop talking about it. And it's just kind of like a circle, all the time. I told him so many times that I don't think I will be able to meet with his expectations, that we can have it as many times as he wants to. I would try my best, of course, but we had these points many times when I told him, you know what, if it's not okay for you, I'm not sure we're going to be able to work it out.
How did he respond when you said that? If it's going to be like this, maybe it's not going to work. How did he respond?
He says that he's going to try to be patient, and it's going to be very hard for him. I think he wants to understand it, but I think he secretly probably has those expectations that maybe in 5 years it will change. Maybe next year it will change. And I just feel like that.
So there's quite a bit of imbalance in this relationship. The imbalance is he wants sex more than you feel, okay, I'm going to try to be more sex. When you say to him, I don't want to have sex, he tells you how hard it is for him. Maybe you need to say it in a different way. So for instance, if he says, oh, let's have sex, and you go, I love having sex with you. We have such a great, but tonight I've got some work to do. I'm super tired. Let's have sex tomorrow. I really want to have sex on Saturday. So what you have to do is rather like with a child, you have to say not no, but no at the moment. So when your kid says, Mommy, I want ice cream, you can have ice cream on Sunday. So it's the same thing. It's called a sandwich technique. So the bread is, we have great sex. I love our sex. The feeling is, but today, I'm not in the mood. I've got PMT. I've got a lot of work on. I want to go to sleep. But I want to have sex with you on Friday because I love our sex life. So when you say no in the middle of the compliment, no compliment.
Yeah, I use the technique at work, giving feedback, not necessarily in my relationship.
And then here's a very personal question. How long does sex last between the two of you?
That's okay. That's like 45 minutes, an hour. So it's
so long,
it's nothing like short.
So it's not like, okay, well, it's only take 5 minutes. Like
No. That he's very, very he's really taking care of me, and he's really paying attention on me and asks questions, and
you like that? You're happy with that?
That I'm happy with, because in that case, he's the best boyfriend, to be honest. So it
sounds like you have the potential to have a great sex life with this man. He's very attentive. He cares about your experience. He spends a long time, 45 minutes to an hour is amazing. But you just have to tell him, this is like you're having a gourmet dinner, but occasionally you can just go out for a burger. It doesn't always have to be an hour. So unless you always want it to be an hour, but you may have to say to him, darling, this sex is special. It's special because we don't do it. If we did it every night, it wouldn't be special. Try to talk about your needs. Recognize his. I know you have a high libido. I know you want me to have all these experiences. I love we've been together for 3 years. But lay out your needs. Because when you meet someone's needs, they'll never leave you. But you might leave them if they don't meet your needs too. So you're doing a good job of trying to understand his needs and indeed meet them. But you need the balance of also really understanding yours and meeting your needs too.
Yeah, I keep telling him, it's completely normal. How's your libido? I think it's okay the way I am as well. So there's no wrong thing with anybody, really. We just really need to find the middle path. And because all of my friends, of course, telling me, yeah, but he's a little kid and doesn't really think about your feelings in this case, how many times I wanted. So all of my friends are kind of trying to withdraw this whole relationship. Yet I keep, tell them that I made this choice at the beginning, I knew that he's 28. He's never really been with a girl. And so I don't put all on this on him, so we don't fight or anything, but we still, after 3 years, we haven't found this middle ground where everyone is okay.
And you may also have libidos that aren't quite lined up. But, it's like saying, my husband's hungry, I'm not, so I'm not going to eat, and he can. He wants to stay up, and I don't. Part of a relationship, you don't have to do everything together. You can be someone who stays up, your partner goes to bed early. You can be someone who's super outgoing, and they might not be. So you don't have to be absolutely lined up. He may always have a higher libido. The question is, you've got to find, when do you want to have sex? When does he? Because if you had sex whenever he wanted to, you'd feel bad. And if you didn't have sex, you're saying that he would feel bad. So one of you is going to feel bad. It sounds like it's mostly you. And you just have to work out in the middle and say, look, this is what's normal. I love the fact that we spend an hour having amazing sex and you're so attentive. This is like amazing. But I can really only commit to that 3 times a week, which is a lot, by the way. Most people, when they've been in a relationship for several years, only have sex once a week, sometimes not even that. You can work it out. Just ask, sit down and say, hey, what are your needs? I know some of them, you need to have exciting sex, you need to have a lot of sex, you need to feel I'm having all these experiences with you, and these are your needs, and I'm going to do my best to meet them as much as I can, but not all the time. But these are my needs. When I say, not tonight, I need you to understand that and not talk me into it. Of course, there is something to be said for something I'm not in the mood, and then we start to have sex, well, wow, I got in the mood, because that often does happen. And if that's happened before and he's coerced you and then you've enjoyed it, he's learned, oh, if I continue, she'll say yes, and then we'll both have great sex. So you just have to be very upfront. I'm happy to have sex 3 times. I love it. It's amazing. You push all the right buttons. You're fantastic. But I can't do it every night. Just be honest.
Yeah, I tell them again. So for a while he understands it, but then we are back again to the same thing, like in 3-4 months.
Yeah, you need to be very clear. I'm going to meet your needs as much as I can. I don't think he understands. I think you know his needs very clearly. I don't really think he knows yours, because on here you're talking about his needs, not your needs. And there's an imbalance. And when there's a relationship, must have is balance. So go back, talk about his needs first, but then with great confidence, talk about your needs, because you have needs and your needs need to be met too. And then you'll somehow meet in the middle and you could go on to have a great relationship.
Yeah, I mean, my needs definitely would be more foreplay. So because that's the thing that's not really happening many times. He's just right into the whole thing.
Oh, I thought when you said an hour, you must be having great foreplay, because most people have sex for, the average man has sex for 4.5 minutes. So I thought, wow, you're having a great time there. But now you're saying no foreplay. You've got to tell him what you need.
Yeah, that I tell
men love pleasing women. Men, when a woman has an orgasm, I always go, I did that. I did that to her, or indeed to him. So they love it. You have to tell him, I need more attention, more of this, more of that. I need to do it like that. Tell him, this is how you get your needs met. And if he does that and gives you more foreplay, maybe you'll meet his need and want you to have more sex, because it'll be more fun for you. You've got to tell him. Don't wait until you're out having dinner together somewhere where he's not going to walk out, or you're not going to have an, and just say, our sex life is so great, but this is what I like. You said he's never had a girlfriend before. A lot of men watch too much porn where no foreplay really goes on and don't even understand how important it is. But however long it takes a man to be aroused, you got to add a 0 for a woman. She needs a lot longer. Tell him. He'll probably love the fact that you're showing him. He's not going to know what you need or want unless you tell him. And he hasn't had another long-term girlfriend to say, oh, no, I don't like that, but actually I really like that. So you got to be his teacher a little bit. But that's okay. You'll do it well.
Yeah, that I know from day one.
All right. Keep in touch. Let me know how it goes. Thank you, darling.
Thank you, Marisa. Thank you.
Who do we have next on the line? Hi, so Olivia, you've come out of an abusive marriage. You're in a relationship with someone who's your best friend. What's the problem? Tell me what's going on.
I guess it's just sometimes I'm in doubt, I guess, of we never really had that beginning feeling of like intense passion or whatever. It's just sort of moved into more of a romantic phase. And sometimes it's just hard to sex and stuff like that. It's not like super, super passionate. And I do really love him. So I don't know what the right thing is, honestly.
Well, let me tell you, a relationship needs 3 things to really last. And those 3 things are best friend chemistry, which is something like you've got sexual chemistry, and mutual respect and admiration. So your abusive marriage, did you have sexual chemistry in the beginning?
No, not really, honestly. Like he pursued me a lot. And eventually it like grew to that, but there was a lot of dysfunction with that as well.
So you didn't have sexual chemistry with him, and it sounds like because it was abusive, you didn't have best friend chemistry either.
No, there was some friendship in the beginning, and that was definitely how that started.
And if it was abusive, I'm going to put a cross by respect and admiration, because it sounds like that first marriage didn't have any of those 3 things that make a relationship work. Is that right?
Right.
And now you're with someone and you have 2 out of 3. You have best friend chemistry because he was your best friend since high school, and you respect and admire each other. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess I've just seen him always be the high school version of him. And then I gradually seen as we've become roommates, him, I guess, turn into, I don't know, just show all these manly sides of himself. He's really starting to.
You mean passive sexually?
Yeah, a bit. And then like lets me be the boss in our life, basically, with everything.
And how do you feel about that, being the boss?
I like some parts of it, and some parts I just don't want to be having to think for both of us all the time. And
so are you saying that you don't really feel physically attracted to him?
Well, I can see that he's attractive. I mean, you know what? I'm more attracted to him than I was to my ex-husband. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've always seen him as a friend.
Here's a problem that many, many people have. Here's two things going on. You have passionate sex and intimacy. So you have erotic sex, the kind of sex, erotic, passionate, amazing. Then you have intimacy. And they don't really go together, because what passionate sex requires is mystery, drama, suspense, bit of naughtiness, all the things we see in movies. So that's what sex requires. But what intimacy requires is you're my best friend and you finish my says, you know when I'm having a bad time. And they don't actually go together. They go together very badly. So sometimes when you're with someone a long time, they start off as your best friend, it can really mess up the intimacy, because intimacy and erotic sex are very different bedfellows. But there's one thing that joins them together very well, and that's a bit of fantasy. And ever since 50 Shades of Grey came out, I was saying, oh yeah, that's okay. So you probably have this image of what great erotic sex is, and it's not with this guy who's your best friend, and it's not with your husband that you had either. But you might maybe want to just get into your head the kind of thing that would excite you and turn you on and make you feel super orgasmic. And it's perfectly okay to fantasize. Fantasy is the bridge that marries erotic sex with intimacy. They really don't go well at all. So people say, I've been with my partner for so long. One of my clients said every Saturday we get out, have sex, and go and do a food job. It's so boring. There's no drama. I know exactly what one of my clients said. When my husband comes to bed with his pajama bottoms on, just the top, we're going to have sex. And I absolutely hate it, because it's like, where's the foreplay? Where's the seduction? But in a long relationship, you have so much intimacy and not enough eroticism. In a short relationship, more eroticism and often not intimacy. You can have two, but I think you should use a bit of fantasy, because it sounds like if you didn't have it with your first husband or the boy with the man you're with now, I don't think it's them. I think it might be you. Nothing wrong with you, but you probably...
No, it is. Yes.
Oh, it's not them, it's you. But that's okay. If you know it's you, then you have to decide what excites you. I've worked with many, many women, for instance, who can't get pregnant because their partners have got a very low sperm count. When men have sex with a strange woman, their sperm count triples. So many of my clients said, okay, I had to get my husband's sperm count up. So I pretended he was a cowboy or a pilot or the pool guy, and it really worked. But ever since we did that, just to get the sperm count up, because when men have sex with a new person, they make more sperm because nature wants you to get a new person pregnant. But they'll also be, we're doing it all the time now. It's amazing. We still play this game. We fantasize. And so when you said it's not them, it's me, tell me how you know it's you. What is it that makes you know it's you?
Because I feel that if I was to leave the relationship, that probably, there's no guarantee that I would want that person more after the period of honeymoon phase.
You have a great guy, he loves your child. You just have to work on your sex life by, I would say, read some books, watch some movies, decide what excites you, and then see if you can bring it into the bedroom. And a good thing to say is like, hey, I just read this book, or I watched this movie. It's really excited me, and I'd like to share it with you, or leave what it is lying around. Bring that into the bedroom, because he probably doesn't even know that you're interested in that, but you need to really spice up your sex life. And you can do anything you like, but fantasy is the fastest way to spice up your sex life. And there's nothing wrong with it. Most people do it. They just think, I shouldn't admit that because I feel like I'm being unfaithful or don't like my partner enough, but it's perfectly okay. So just think of the things that excite you, what's happened in the past that's excited you and aroused you, and then use that.
This is such a great answer. I was scared to come because I was scared that you were going to say, maybe he's not the one for you or whatever, but this is the best. Yeah.
No, I think he could really be the one. I think he'd be the one in the bedroom too, but you need to find some erotic fiction or some erotic, luckily we've got so many channels. Find out what rocks your boat and then say, you know what? This really excites me. I'd like to try that. And he will love it because he loves you. If he loves you, he wants to please you. And if pleasing you is exciting you, he'll want to do that. You know, I was giving a lecture in Ibiza many years ago about fantasy, and it was at an event where we were dressing up and people were going, oh my God, you know, my husband dressed up. Somebody came up on the beach and said, I've been with my husband for 15 years. We have never had sex like we had sex last night because he put on this costume and I put on a costume. We went out, we pretended to be someone else. And we came and we had the wildest sex after 15 years of marriage because we both thought, you know, we've got to look in each other's eyes and make love. And it's like, no, let's have really raunchy sex. You can make love as well, but sex can be exciting and thrilling, but it's the eroticism needs thrilling, exciting, dramatic mystery. It doesn't need let's play Barry White and make love. That's not it. It's got to be exciting for you. And if that's going on in your head, that's fine. You can do that all yourself. Your partner will love it because you'll be so responsive. That's all you need, someone to tell you it's absolutely fine to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a great conversation. Thank you. I'm so sorry you're a victim of sexual abuse. How old were you when that happened?
Quite an early age, very early.
And was that with someone you knew, a family member?
My father.
So your father abused you from a very, very early age. And that's a huge challenge because your father is the first man in your life you're supposed to trust and he's supposed to love you. If the first man, the foremost man in your life abuses you like that, that becomes complicated because, you know, we're talking about sex. So you had a very selfish father who, of course, what did he do? He put his needs totally, his need should have been to protect his little girl, but he put his need to abuse you in front of that, selfishly and incorrectly. And then you said what happened is you now have had partners who are all selfish, not interested in foreplay, don't really care about your body. And you, because of what your father did, it was easier for you to accept that. You see, the brain, sadly, likes what's familiar. When something happens, it's familiar, it repeats it. Someone else might have said to their first partner, have you never heard of foreplay? This is not, I was talking to someone once who said, I went out on a date with a girl, one of my clients, and he said, and she sent me a text going, I never want to see you again. You were so disappointing in bed, didn't try hard enough. And he went, what a girl, I'm seeing her again. And I'm going to really make an effort because she told me off and said, you didn't try hard enough to please me. I'm not interested in you. And that really spiked his interest in her because on the whole, men like to feel I've earned this woman. So when you have a selfish father and then a succession of selfish partners, it becomes familiar. It almost becomes normal. And it's very sad that you said you never bothered about being pleasured. You felt dirty and ashamed. But tell me about your husband. What was that like? And how long were you together? I know you're now separated.
Yes, we were together for 18 years, married for 7. And
okay.
It's interesting. It's almost like when I first met him, I'd rather please him than myself. And quite interesting, his erection didn't last too long as well. But there was no foreplay. There was nothing like that.
But why, Faye? Why was it more important for you to please him than to be pleased by him? That's such an interesting statement you just made. Yeah. You'd rather please him than be pleased by him. Tell me why.
Well, I felt, again, ashamed to even ask for what I wanted or needed.
I want you to finish that. I want you to do something for me that's going to help everyone on this call. I want you to say, I was uncomfortable to ask for what I wanted because, and then finish that statement as fast as you can. So just repeat after me. I was uncomfortable to ask for what I wanted.
To ask for what I wanted. Because I felt ashamed.
What did you feel ashamed of?
I felt ashamed and dirty to feel pleasure.
Yeah. Okay, and that's, again, very normal when you've been abused because so many people who are abused have this tremendous guilt that they participated. Of course you didn't. That was done to you, not with you. You're as innocent now as you were then. You didn't participate in that. But sadly, that's what happens when people are abused. Sex becomes dirty. And, of course, what your father did to you was sexual, with your husband, I imagine you were making love. So there's sex, which is really all about power. And then there's making love, which is about exchanging emotions and feelings with each other, enjoying each other. But now you've broken up with this husband, although you said the sex did get better. Is that right? But he couldn't maintain an erection.
In the beginning, he used to take drugs. And it was long enough and enjoyable enough. And then, of course, I didn't want drugs in my life. I didn't take drugs, but I said to him, I won't be with someone that takes drugs. And then once the drugs were out of the scene, the erection was not as long. But the fact that he could never do foreplay after or beforehand was, but I just accepted it. That's what I couldn't understand.
He could never do it, or he was just too lazy to do it.
Yeah, I believe he's probably too lazy, I think. It was never about me. It was always about his needs and what he needed.
Every man you've been with has put their needs in front of your needs. And now here you are separated, thinking about dating again. But you said, I don't know if I can be in a relationship. So you have to look at your past and go, okay, my father didn't respect me, did something appallingly selfish. And then he set a pattern. And every man you've been with doesn't bother with foreplay. It's really about them and not you. And sadly, you've allowed that to happen. That's not your fault at all. However, now you're 58. With that comes a lot of confidence, and you can decide, what do I want? You know, I was speaking to someone recently who said, I haven't had sex with someone for 12 years, and I just met a guy. What should I do? I said, well, you should say to him, I haven't had sex for a long time. You're going to have to make this really special. For you to get me into bed after 12 years, you're going to have to really work hard and seduce me. So lay it out. Say, so when you meet a new guy, say to them, you know, I had a selfish husband. I've now left him. And I'm thinking about seeing someone else, but they're going to have to really work hard and show me all the things I missed out on. I mean, that's what you deserve and that's what you're entitled to. The only thing you have to do is one thing, which is say, I am worthy of having a guy make love to me properly, seduce me, adore me, you know, worship my body, and really get into what does that look like and feel like and sound like? Because most men, you know, if we go back to being like 17, guys had to seduce us. You know, we weren't necessarily going to jump into it, but they had to get us in the mood. And that's always been the way. It's a little not quite like that now. But I know that it kind of is. So if you were dating a guy, you'd expect him to take you out to dinner, wine and dine you and get you in the mood by seducing you. So for you, all you have to do is say, you know what, I'm going to have that. I've never had that. And it's exciting being seduced, being aroused, having someone make me so excited and hot and ready. I'm going to go for that. I'm going to date some people. And when they start to talk about moving on, go, yeah, well, you better make this really special. People aren't psychics. We have to tell them what we want. I would like you to do this. I'd like you to spend a long time doing that. I'd like you to, and again, you need to read some erotic literature, watch some erotic movies and see what people watch porn. And porn is so wrong because all it shows is like, someone gets in, the penetration happens, and that's it. But that shouldn't be the first thing. It should be the third or fourth thing. So you just have to decide you're worth it. You know, all those men that let you down, you didn't say, what's going on here? You know, is that it? Or that's not very exciting. I didn't really get anything out of that because you didn't even know that you had a right to say, I'd like to be aroused and seduced and made super orgasmic. But if you decide that's what you want and you have an idea of what that will look like and feel like, then you're going to give some guy the challenge of doing that with you and for you, and he'll probably love that challenge. That's exciting for a man. So how does it feel as you think about that?
Exciting, really. I'm starting to see my worth, and I've never really spoken out like what you just said, never done that before. So I'm hoping to do that now.
Is your father still alive, by the way?
No, he's just passed away recently.
Okay. So the only thing you ever need, you know, in order to have a great relationship, nothing has to be added in or taken away. It doesn't have to be earned or worked for. For you to have a great relationship, including great sex, you need one thing, and it's this, a belief that you are worth it and deserving of it. When you say, hey, I'm worth being seduced, I deserve someone to work really hard to please me. I'm worth it and I deserve it. So I want you to start saying every day, I am worthy of someone adoring me, including my body, and I deserve that. I'm worth it. I deserve it. I'm worth it. I say it, state it, affirm it, embody it, because what will happen is you will change your energy. Quantum physics, which is more of a science, the medical science says we're all energy and we have a vibrational body, and people pick up our energy. And if our energy is every guy lets me down, they all use me, sadly, that's the kind of person you attract. When you have the energy that says, I deserve someone to adore me because I'm worth it. I deserve to be seduced and loved because I'm worth it. If you keep saying it, it doesn't even matter if it's true. Your mind will make it true and your vibrational body will pick that up, and men will find that very sexy, because one of the sexiest things in the world is confidence. It's not having a young body or breasts up here. It's having confidence. Confidence is so sexy. So work on your confidence, work on yourselves. Just say every day, I'm worthy of and deserving of a guy who shows me what it's like to really love a woman. And if you keep saying that, that's exactly what you're going to get. There's a great song, actually, called To Love a Woman. Have you ever loved a woman? Play that song. Just ask Alexa to play that song, have you ever loved a woman? Because that will make you understand what it's really like. And then go out and get it.
Sounds good.
Sounds very exciting. I'm excited for you.
Thank
and,
you.
Also for women, we often have our best sex in our 40s and 50s and 60s. It's about getting pregnant, and we don't really care anymore, particularly what we, what our thighs are like. So we can just really have a great time. It's your time to have a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thanks for the
advice.
Thank
you for coming. You're so welcome, darling. Thank you. So tell me, you got divorced, and the first person you began to date after your divorce was this guy that you thought was wonderful. How long have you been seeing? Had you been seeing him?
Since November.
Okay. And did he seem very committed to the relationship? What was it like? So since November.
Yeah, we already knew each other. He was in the outside of a friend circle. So we already knew each other, basically. And then, while I was going through my divorce and moving out and kind of going through all that, he stepped up as a friend, as a person to lean on, that person that shows up and helps you move boxes in the middle of the night, or, he really was all in, just 2 feet, not hesitant at all, just like, yeah, I want to be the next guy. And I like,
so he said great things. He did great things, but he told you that he cared for you. He made it clear you're in a relationship together. Is that right?
I wouldn't say he made it clear that we were in a relationship. I mean, his actions, absolutely. But words, we avoided the words, all of the boyfriend, girlfriend words. And that was on me as well. I wasn't looking for another person. I got out of the marriage with the thought that I would be single for a while. But when I jumped out of the marriage, I think in the marriage I had been emotionally and physically neglected for so long that, and when he was there and showing up for me in this way that I realized I really needed, and I fell for him, not on purpose, on accident.
You fell for him. Did he fall for you? You fell for him. Did he also fall for you?
I believe so, yes.
But you never used the words, I love you.
We did at some point. Yeah, I was like, well, shoot, I wasn't looking for this, but yeah.
Okay, so you both fallen for each other. You used the love word, and then what happened? You said his childhood best friend called him. Tell me more about that. Were you with him when he took that call?
I wasn't. He went back home to see family and friends, and while he was there, he met up with this particular friend, and they've known each other a long time. They are good friends, and they're both musicians, and so they record and play together on YouTube. They used to, and then when he went back, let's do another video, and they played a song and sang together. And when he got back, she called him about a week later and said, now I'm in love with you, and I want to be with you. He initially told her, no, I'm with somebody, and then he got to thinking about it. And then he told me a few days later, he said, I just want you to know I tried to figure out, do I have feelings for this person or not? I'm trying to decide, I'm here, I'm in Los Angeles, and this is, I'm here and that's where he lives. And, I mean, I think it would mean for him moving back. And I think he has considered moving back home in the past, and so I think that's part of the decision as well. Do I want to stay in LA? Do I want to move back?
Yeah, but aside from all of that, even if she lived up the road, how do you feel that he said, oh, I said I love you, but now someone else has said they love me, and I now want to go on a break while I decide who I'm going to be with? I mean, how does that feel to you?
Well, it feels terrible. It feels really...
Yeah, because you must feel that you're being replaced, and we all want to be indispensable and significant, and you must feel the opposite. When he told you that, I loved you, but someone else loves me, it was like a soap opera, and now he hasn't said, let's break up. He said, I want to take some time to figure out what to do. During the figuring out, is he calling you? Are you in touch with each other?
Yeah, he still wants to hang out every day and come around. I gave him, when I heard that news, I said, do not talk to me for a couple, and I gave him a day and a time where I said, you need to make your decision and talk to me on the day and time, because I was like, you don't get to think about this forever. But that day and time came and went, and he said, I still need more time to think about it. He's really just avoiding making a decision. I can tell he doesn't want to make a decision either way. And so...
But you're saying he still wants to come and see you, but you're not having sex now. He's now becoming, is he still trying to be a boyfriend, or is he just being a friend now?
He's still being a boyfriend, yeah.
Oh, so he still wants to have sex with you while he decides if he leaves you for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He wants to have sex with you and date you while he decides if he replaces you with another girl from his past. So that's where he is. But where are you? What are you doing about this?
Initially, when he told me, I said, I'll give you space, do not come around. And I gave him a date and a time. But when the date and time came, he said, I still need more time to think about it. I missed him so much when we were apart for that little time, that we're like, okay, let's get dinner. And then, dinner led to staying over, and we went right back into our patterns. And his actions and his behavior on a day-to-day is that he is very much in love with me, and that he wants to be with me, but he just won't say
so he probably quite likes having two women that like him. This woman's declared love to him, and she's from his past. You need to say to him straight away, look, I'm not sharing you. Rod Stewart did this thing. He said, when I first met Penny Lancaster, I was dating loads of girls. He said, Penny was so brave. She said to me, I don't share. If you want to be with me, you're going to just be with me. And he said, I was so impressed that she could say that to Rod Stewart. I don't share. You're either going to date me, but if you're dating other girls, you're not going to date me. And she had that strength of character to having given up everyone. And then he said, I'm never going to marry her. I'm never going to have children. They've now got 2 children. And he just adores her. But he has always said what a brave girl she was, because he was a rock star and she was just a girl. I don't mean just a girl, but who said no. So you need to think of that and say to this guy, look, I'm a prize worth having, and I am not sharing. And I'm also not hanging around, so you need to make a decision. Are you going to be with her? Are you going to be with me? Because you can't be with both. So you do need to say to him, don't call me, don't contact me. You need to give him a chance to miss you. You see, over 6 months, he told you he loved you. He even told this girl that he was seeing you. So he does have deep feelings for you. But unless you let him miss you, he'll never know he misses you. So as hard as it is, don't take his calls, don't let him turn up, and just say, no, you're spinning 2 plates here. I'm not. So I'm now going to go out and do what you're doing. I'm going to go out and live a life. I might even meet someone else while you're waiting to decide what to do. I'm going to go off and live my life without you. And hopefully you'll come to a decision very quickly, but I'm not waiting around, because waiting around is just going to prolong this. He's just delaying the inevitable. He's going to have to let one of you down, and he probably doesn't want to. So he's keeping you both going. But that's really unfair. And you said it makes you feel second best, second rate, unworthy. It's a bit like dating someone who's married. You're just waiting for them to make a decision. But you need to make a decision and say, listen, I deserve so much better than this, because you do. I only want to be with someone who wants to only be with me. So until you're ready, goodbye. And even though it's hard, don't take his calls. Don't look at him on Facebook. Don't follow on Instagram. Tell him, I can wait for a little while. How long has this been going on, by the way?
About a week.
Oh, so not long at all. Okay. When you get off this call, send him an email or a text and say, look, I deserve so much better than this. I deserve someone who only wants to be with me. And I'd like that to be you, but I'm not really prepared to wait very long. So I don't know how long you'd like to give him, a month, 2 weeks. Just say, please don't contact me until you've made your decision, because you must allow him to miss you, and he'll miss you terribly. I don't think he'll miss her because he hasn't been in a relationship with her, but the fact that he wants to still turn up, hang out, have sex with you means he still has a great attraction to you. That's your card. That's your trump card. Use it. Take a position of power back. At the moment, he's got all the power and you've got none because he's deciding. But you can take all the power back by saying, listen, I'm just going out and living my life. I'm not waiting for you. I mean, you can wait a little bit, but while I'm waiting, I'm going to be out living my life. So you need to make a decision very quickly. Don't allow him to drag this out. It's not fair for you. It's horrible for you. Be strong, be tough, be that kind of woman that says, I deserve so much more. If you can't give it to me, plenty of other people will. I think he's maybe just finds this he's probably turned his head at the thought of this other girl, but they've never had a relationship. So maybe it's just some kind of weird fairy story in his head. But you've got to be very strong. Do not let him call you, text you, turn up. Don't look at him. Don't follow him on social media. And I think within a month he'll come back, maybe sooner. Take back your power. Waiting, when your happiness depends on someone else, that takes all your power away. When people are waiting for someone, waiting is guaranteed to minimize your power. Taking action, going, I'm not hanging around here, will give you your power back.
A little thought I had when you were saying that was, I am starting to not want him anymore, in the sense that, like, right now we're having a great time. And I will always be grateful. He was the best rebound ever out of this marriage. But, when someone says, I'm thinking, and I don't know, it really, it's unattractive. And I thought when that time apart we took apart, I was really sad and I missed him. And so when he came back in the picture, I don't have as strong of feelings for him now. And the fact that he had to even think about it made me go, I don't think we're going to last forever. And then I thought, well, I'll let him keep coming around and doing nice things for me and having great sex and stuff while it's lasting. That was a thought I had. And I don't know if that does take my power away while I'm still letting him come around but I'm getting mine.
Well, if it was just great sex and you were just having great sex and he was coming over, but you said you love him, and you also mentioned that while you're having great sex and that's all fun and making you feel powerful because he desires you, and any woman feels powerful when they're desired. You also said it makes you feel abandoned and unworthy, and you're just waiting for him to decide what's going to happen with your life. Don't wait for him to decide. You make the decision. Just say, I'm not waiting around. You can have a little bit of time, but someone like me, if you want to be with a prize like me, you need to get on with it and make a decision very quickly, because I'm not waiting. Because it's just wrong. He said, I've got both of you and I don't know what to do. Well, you make a decision very quickly, because it's cruel and it's unkind to everybody to just keep you hanging on. So just say, I'll give you a little bit of time, but in that little time, I'm not seeing you, you're not seeing me. I'm going to go out and do other things, and hopefully you'll make the right decision very quickly, because if you want this relationship to work, you have to stop seeing him right now. And if you want to get over him, you have to stop seeing him right now. Whatever you do, the strategy is the same. Do not have any contact with him. It's the fastest way to make him come back. But if he's going to go with this other girl, it's the fastest way for you to get over him. I think he'll come back to you. But either way, you can have no contact with him. It's hard, but it gets easier. And you'll grow in confidence, and he'll admire you much more for having that sense of self to say, I'm not sharing you with anybody, and I'm not waiting to be chosen. I mean, this isn't a game of cards. He's waiting to decide who he chooses. You make the choice for him and say, I'm off. I might be around for a little while, but don't wait to be chosen. That's not good for you, and you deserve so much better. Let me know how you get on.
Okay, I will.
Well, it's been wonderful. I've loved these calls tonight. They've all been so interesting and different, and I hope you all learned something. And what we're learning, of course, through all of this is that best friend chemistry, sexual chemistry, and mutual respect make a relationship perfect. When someone says, oh, I like someone else as well as you, there's no respect there. When someone doesn't even try to please you in bed, there's no respect. So if you want a great relationship, always look, have you got these 3 things? Best friend chemistry, sexual chemistry, mutual respect, and admiration. And whatever you want in love, fall in love with yourself. Falling in love with yourself never bores you, never forgets your birthday. So if you want someone to love you, if you want love, there's only one thing you need, and it's this. You have to say, I'm worthy of love. I deserve love. I am deeply, deeply lovable just the way I am. You can imagine Barry White singing that to you, or Billy Joel. But if you want love, nothing has to be snipped in, injected in, snipped off. It doesn't have to be earned, bought, run after, worked for. Only one thing you need, and that is a deep knowing that you are lovable. Because you are. Of course you are. How could you not be lovable? You're lovable just the way you are. Work on knowing you're lovable, and then you won't have to find love. It will find you. Thank you so much. And please tune in next time for even more fascinating dilemmas.